Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nurjana Najiha binti Jumadi and my student ID is 2019728507. I would like to thanks to my panel for taking the time to listen my digital defense proposal presentation that entitled Level of Mental Toughness Between Gender Among Kaya Athlete. Okay, let's start with the background of study. Nowadays, mental toughness become one of the most important element in athlete life as well as student athlete. Through a good mental toughness, the athlete can perform well in their performance. The term mental toughness was used frequently by sports psychologists to describe why certain athletes may have become or currently the best in the world in their respective sport. Other than that, sports psychologists use the term mental toughness to describe why some athletes may or may not have become the best in the world in their sport outlook. And according to Cowden 2017, the most important of mental toughness is psychological attributes underpinning the success of athletes. However, to achieve their goals consistently, they are a collection of attitude, emotion, and connection can affect how individual strategies, reaction, and appraises challenging event. For the problem statement of this study, according to Hoover 2006, the lack of mental toughness has also been described as a major reason why athletes and teams are failing to reach their full potential and the highest possible level of their achievement. Hoover also saw athletes struggling with the mental dimension of the sport, and many coaches are questioning how to teach and improve this skill. And according to Connaughton 2008, sports psychologists also use the word mental toughness to explain why certain athletes can or may not have been the best in the world in their sporting outlook. It might or may not be a factor in the success of athlete. Therefore, the research described in depth the mental toughness of Kaya athlete in order to learn more about their mental toughness, whether it affect their performance or not. Recognizing the research objective, this study will identify the level of mental toughness among Kaya athletes. Secondly, to identify the duration of training among Kaya athletes. And lastly is to identify the differences of mental toughness between gender among Kaya athletes. A functional understanding in literature review is, according to Clark 2002, mental toughness has been defined as the ability of a person to deal with stresses and challenge effectively and to perform to the best of their abilities, regardless of the circumstance in which they are found. Mental toughness also was a personality trait that determined how people react to risk, stress, and pressure, regardless of their circumstance. This study also used questionnaire to examine the construction of the mental toughness study that consists of self-confidence, commitment, challenge, and self-control that adapted from mental toughness questionnaire 48, or we call as MTQ 48 by Clark 2002. So this is my conceptual framework for my research study, which is level of mental toughness that consists of land-based, water-based, and level of activity. And secondly, we have the duration of training towards mental toughness. And the last one is differences mental toughness between gender that consists of 6 dimensions, which is challenge, control emotion, control life, commitment, confident ability, and confident interpersonal. Next, we move to my research methodology that consists of research design, sampling, instrumentation, data collection, and data analysis. For the research design, the researcher used the survey questionnaire to collect and interpret data quantitatively. Quantitative analysis, as indicated by Creswell 2014, is a technique for checking goal uncertainty by examining the relationship between variables that can be measured, usually on instruments, so the numerical details can be broken down using a realistic technique. The research design also is a non-experimental method. For my sampling, the target population for this study is the kayak athlete who is participate in MASOM. Why I choose MASOM? MASOM was university sport officials to hold sporting competition among local university, especially in water sport. Based on the table devised by Critchie and Morgan 1970, to set number of respondents to answer all the questions, where the table suggested the number of samples should be 74 after adding 20% of unwritten and incomplete questionnaire. The simple random sampling will be used by the researcher to answer the questionnaire. For the instrumentation, the researcher used Athlete Evaluation of Mental Toughness Questionnaire 48, or we call as MTQ 48, by Professor Peter Clark, Claudine Roland, and Monika Swerenko 2017. And the reliability statistic of Mental Toughness Questionnaire 48, Cronbach alpha of 0.900, and it contains 5-point Likert scale. First, strongly disagree to fifth, strongly agree. Mental Toughness Questionnaire 48 divided into two sections. Section A is Demographic Profile. Demographic questionnaire addressing 5 items, which is gender, athlete participation, achievement of athletes, duration training per day, and duration training before competition. And for the section B is Mental Toughness Questionnaire. The MTQ 48 test consists of 6 subscale or dimension, which is challenge, commitment, control emotion, control life, confidence ability, and confidence interpersonal. Next, we move to the data collection. The data collection procedure that we need to follow first is ethical approval, ask permission to conduct a research, brief clearly to the respondent, distribute questionnaire to the respondent, and the last one is collect the questionnaire. We move forward to the data analysis. The researcher used statistical package for social science, which is SPSS 26.0, to analyze the data that have been collected. The significance will be set as p-value is greater than 0.05 with alpha equal to 0.05. According to my research objective, firstly, to identify the level of mental toughness among kayak athletes, I will use descriptive to analyze my data. Secondly, to identify the mental toughness based on the duration of training among kayak athletes, I will also use the descriptive to analyze my data. And thirdly, to identify the differences of mental toughness between gender among kayak athletes, I will use independent t-test to analyze my data analysis. So this is the result for my demographic profile among kayak athletes. If you can see, the results show there was different amount of respondents between male and female kayak athlete. The number of male athlete was higher than female athlete. Based on the research objective, which is to identify the level of mental toughness among kayak athlete, this is the result. The results show the rank of the subscale of MTQ 48. The first rank that we can see is challenge. Second rank is interpersonal confidence. Third, confidence ability. Fourth, control emotion. Fifth, commitment. And the sixth is control life. Based on the second research objective, which is to identify the duration of training among kayak athletes, this is the result. From the duration of training per day, the researcher found that the maximum hours of training for kayak athletes were 12 hours. Based on the result, the highest mean score of the training per day were 12 hours for just one athlete. And for the duration of training before competition, the results show the maximum days of training were 90 days, equal to 3 months of training. Most of kayak athletes agree and prefer to training for 21 days, where there were 15 kayak athletes training for 21 days before the competition. And lastly, based on the research objective, which is to identify the differences of mental toughness between gender among kayak athletes, and this is the result. Between male and female, the differences of mental toughness is higher in the sub-skill control emotion and control life, which is negative 2.11 and negative 2.51. The result of studies show no significant difference from challenge, commitment, confident ability, and confident interpersonal mental toughness 48 factors between gender among kayak athletes. Before I end my presentation, let's move forward for the discussion. For the demographic profile of respondent, the results show there was different amount of respondent between male and female kayak athletes. The number of male athletes was higher than female athletes. This was because male athletes being offered many categories than female athletes. That's why most of the respondents were from male athletes. Previous research showed that mental toughness can grow with physical strength training. Other research also identified that in a demanding and supportive environment, mental toughness will improve. Recent research support this finding and confirm that mental toughness was improved in preparation for an event by gradually increasing the training load. Okay, for the level of mental toughness among kayak athletes, the results show the rank of the sub-skill of MTQ 48. First rank is challenge, interpersonal confidence, confidence ability, control emotion, commitment, and control life. This result can be supported by CLOF 2017. Sub-skill calculate the degree to which a person will likely perceive a challenge as an opportunity. Those highly scoring on this scale tended to actively look for such situation of self-development, while low scorer avoided challenging situation for fear of failure or aversion to effort. For the duration of training among kayak athletes, the result can be supported by previous research where Marshall 2017 identified the effect of long-term training program on the development of mental toughness. Result of the study show overall mental toughness, confidence, and commitment significantly increased 1 month post-race compared to baseline and month 2 post-race. For the discussion differences of mental toughness between gender among kayak athletes, this finding can be supported by previous study where Dahlan 2017, who aimed to investigate the relationship between mental toughness and academic achievement among footballers at National University of Malaysia, UKM. A total of 40 UKM's football athletes were used as the main respondent in the research, show no significant difference for all 4 factors of mental toughness: commitment, self-control, challenge, and confidence based on their experience in their respective sport. Plus, in the other previous study, supported by gender differences were Zalika 2017, who studies the level of mental toughness among athletes representing Sultan Idris University of Education, UPSI, in the University of Malaysia Sport Council, MASUM event. The result comparing mental toughness between male and female UPSI athletes revealed no significant difference. And before I end my presentation, I would like to thanks once again to my panel for taking the time to listen my digital defense proposal presentation, and stay safe everyone. Thank you.